guys, we are doing a drugstore video today. I have here in front of me a bunch of brand new drugstore makeup releases. We're gonna put them to the test today. I'm gonna give you a little spoiler right now and let you know a couple of these knocked my socks off. I just finished creating this makeup look and maybe that's why I'm a little bit excited. I'm hoping everything wears well because I love how this look came together. We've got a new skin tint, a concealer, a cream bronzer, a liquid blush. I have a new eyeshadow palette that we're gonna test out together, a mascara, and then a couple other things to fill in the blanks. I can't wait to show you guys. This one's gonna be so much fun. But before we get into that, I want to invite those of you that have not yet subscribed to my channel to please do that and make sure that your notifications are turned on. With that said, let's get right to it. Okay, so let's start off with a primer. I did buy a new primer today. I got one from Wet n Wild. This one's not new. I think it's been around for quite a while, but I wanted to try it. It's from Wet n Wild. It is their hydrating primer serum. I'm curious if this is gonna be anything like my Dewdrops from Glow Recipe. By the way, those are not technically a primer. I did get a couple comments from some of you that they are a serum, so you can use them as more of a skincare item. But I love something really serum-like to kind of soften up my skin to prep it for foundation. I just find foundations look much better on my skin when I have a good layer of moisturizer or like a serum underneath. Even a lightweight face oil can be really nice. So this one, by the way, let me just tell you guys the price on this one. It was $6.99, and I believe you get a full ounce in here. Yes, full ounce. It smells kind of watermelony. We're gonna apply this to my face. Okay, it definitely doesn't feel like the Dewdrops. It feels like water, honestly. Like a nice smelling water. Doesn't feel quite as skin softening, but we'll see. I'm gonna put my foundation on next. I'm so excited to try this. This is the Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint. By the way, I feel like every brand at the drugstore right now has a skin tint. It seems to be a thing right now, and I'll be honest, you guys, I have kind of fallen in love with my Physicians Formula skin tint that they sent me. I actually think that one is really nice on the skin, even though it doesn't have a ton of coverage. It just gives me just the right amount of something while giving me a lot of hydration. So I'm curious to try this one. I'm more excited about this. Let me just read you guys what this says. I know it's been around for a couple of months. A lot of people have been talking about it and trying it out, but it says it has a buildable skin-like coverage, weightless fill, natural radiant finish, resists sweat, water, and transfer up to 24-hour wear. That's kind of surprising. Okay, so let's give this a try. Comes in a dropper. This thing was a little bit on the pricey side, $16.99. The shade that I went with, which I'm hoping is not gonna be too dark, I went with 220. They actually did not have a lot of the lighter shades left. They had the fairest shade, which was gonna be way too light. Then this one, and then a couple of the deeper shades available. Looked like this one was popular. It was very picked over. So we're gonna apply this with a brush today. I'm hoping it is looking a little, I don't know, I wouldn't say dark. I do have dark. Hopefully it doesn't darken as it goes on. I actually like the finish of that though. Surprisingly decent coverage. I might have to put bronzer on my neck today. So that was like a half a dropper full for this side. I was thinking I would put 2 layers of this on, but you guys, that's not as light coverage as I was expecting it to have. I'd say it's a solid light medium, leaning towards a medium coverage, I actually think. So that's kind of a pleasant surprise. This one looks like a really nice undertone. I just think it might be a little dark. I think today I'll be able to offset that with a little bit of bronzer on the neck. I don't think it will be too bad, but in the middle of the winter, this would definitely be too dark. But assuming this wears well, I mean, you guys, that looks really good. I'm very excited about this already. It makes me more curious to try the skin tints that I saw from some other brands. I think I saw one from Revolution, and that was actually a cheaper one. By the way, I'm just taking a clean sponge, not really to blend it out. I actually love the finish that brush gave, but just to go around the edges, particularly because this is a little dark on me, I want to make sure there's not an obvious line where the foundation ends and then where my scalp is, where I obviously am very pale and my hair is very dark, and I don't want it to be obvious that I'm wearing foundation. So just kind of going around the hair areas. That was meant to include my brows. I feel like I should have just said that. The hair areas sounds odd. Okay, I'm gonna do another half a dropper for the other side, hoping that shade doesn't oxidize or anything or change. It's not bad. It's a little dark, but I really like the way this looks on my skin. It just looks really healthy. This side is my more troublesome side, so I have a very dark spot right here, and then some lighter spots, but a lot of them around my eye up here, and I'm actually starting to get a patch down here as well. So we'll see if this will cover up those spots decently. I suppose if I had a perfect match, I could build it up in just some of these areas that I need a little bit more. But we do have a full coverage, or what claims to be a full coverage concealer, a new one from the drugstore to try out today. So we're gonna see if the concealer can take care of some of these spots and just go with a lighter single layer of this skin tint. So I'm just taking a little bit of what's left and kind of tapping it into my neck just to tie everything together. There we go, guys. I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good. I'm kind of wishing that with the buy one get one 50% off, I would have gotten 2 shades of this. Now that I know that so far I'm liking it. Heaven knows I do not need another lip gloss, but I bought another Maybelline lip gloss. Okay, let's move on to the concealer next. So the one that I picked up that was new, or said that it was new on the display, is the Revlon Flex Wear Full Cover Concealer. I bought 2 shades of this. This one was not even on sale, and it was kind of pricey, so I'm really hoping that this concealer works out for me. $12.99 at Walgreens, but I loved the idea of a full coverage concealer that says the word flex in it, which implies to me a little bit of like movement in a good way. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking like the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, which I actually really love. We'll see. I've had a lot of concealer wins from Revlon in the past, so I'm hoping that this will be another, like a replacement for my Candid concealer, which by the way, I still own several of those. So I have 2 shades today. I have the shade Light Medium and then the shade Light. This is Light Medium. I'm gonna put this just around the outside of my eyes and on some of these pigmentation marks on my face, and then we'll use the other shade to kind of brighten up the center of my face and my under eyes and eyelids. This is a Color Stay product, so I'm hoping that it's long wearing. Let's go with shade Light. Add a couple dots of that on this inner pocket here. There we go. Now let's blend that all together. Starting on the outside. Okay, that seems like pretty good coverage for that spot. Pretty much took care of it. Seems like it's setting down kind of fast. I need to go fast. Some of these spots that have been sitting for a minute are getting a little difficult to blend out, so. But I like the coverage so far. Take a closer look here in a sec and see how it looks, particularly under the eyes. That's always the area that gives us trouble. Or I guess I should say, if you're gonna have trouble with the concealer, that's where it's gonna be, on your under eyes. Very nice. Ooh, I'm liking this, you guys. I still haven't looked up close, and sometimes it takes a minute for a concealer to look bad, if it's gonna look bad under your eyes and in your fine lines, so we shall see by the end of the video. But so far, it's applying great, it's blending nicely, has great coverage. Let me look up close. And so far, it actually looks pretty good under the eyes. We'll see how that sets as we finish off with the rest of my makeup. I don't have a new powder. Let's use one that I actually haven't used for a while though. I've just got a little pan of the Maybelline Fit Me powder right here. I'm not gonna powder everywhere. I just wanna powder my eyelids today and maybe my forehead lines. I have a feeling that skin tint might sink into those. Everything sinks into my forehead lines. Let's do the brows next and then we'll come over to the cheeks. So I picked up this from e.l.f. This has also been around for a while. I actually got this not even necessarily for my brows. I saw this and I wanted, this is just their brow pomade, the Lock On Liner and Brow Cream. This is the light brown shade. So I saw this and I thought it looked like the color of my hair up here. So we'll try it out for my brows. If I love it, maybe I'll buy another one for my hair. But I wanted to maybe use this as my kind of like a fill-in when the gray hairs start to come through. I know they make sprays and stuff for like gray hair touch-ups, which by the way, you guys, I touched up my roots probably 6 days ago and already they're starting to grow in. And my blonde's kind of fading out, so it looks a lot more obvious when my blonde's faded out when my gray hairs start to come through. And I have so much gray hair now that the powders, like my Morphe, old Morphe palette that I used to use to touch up, is just not cutting it these days. I need something more extreme, more pigmented, just for a couple of the more troublesome spots. So I thought this might work for that. We're not gonna use it for that today. We're gonna actually try it on the brows, but I'm sorry, maybe you didn't need to know that long explanation, but Oh well. Okay, so we're gonna apply this with my Sephora brow pencil. I'm just gonna take a little bit into the brush. Actually, I haven't used a brow pomade for a long time. How many of you guys do like the dip brow from ABH? Some of you still use that, or has everybody moved on to pencils? I'm sure not. There's so many different types of brow products out there. And I've tried many of them and also have loved many of them. So maybe this will be another one that I'll become obsessed with for 6 months. Seems a little dark for me. I probably could have gone, I think they had a blonde or a taupe, but I'm kind of in between. Sometimes I think blonde or taupe shades, especially when my roots are darker, can be a little too light on me. But some of these ash browns can be a little dark. I don't know, guys. It's not bad. It's a wee dark for me for a pomade. I'll probably just retire that for my roots, but I think the color is going to be perfect for my roots. Now let's throw on some clear brow gel to set those down. I'm just going to use my Physicians Formula Butter Brow Gel. This isn't new. I've had it for a while, but this thing is super stiff. Like it really holds my brows in place if I let it dry properly. Now for the cheeks. I saw that Makeup Revolution has a cream bronzer, so I picked up the light shade. We're gonna test this out today. This is so hard to open, you guys. I seriously, there we go. Okay, you just have to get the perfect angle on it to kind of open the little snapper. This thing was actually pretty cheap. By the way, the brow pomade I think was $5. And this bronzer was $8. So I'm very excited to give it a try. It looks like a good shade in the pan. I believe they had a light, a medium, and a deep shade. Let me just swatch it for you guys. Ooh, very nice and creamy. This feels like the Patrick Ta one in the Duo. Ooh, that's a good shade though. At least it seems like it. Let's try it out on the cheeks. Now I'm afraid I got too much in my brush. Hang on, I've got so much. I've got foundation still on the back of my hand. Okay, now I'm just gonna dab some of that off on the back of my hand. Yeah, that's a lot of product. It's creamier than initially thought. There's kind of like a layer on top that you kind of get through, and then it's really nice and creamy. Ooh, good shade though. I like that. Very nice. I still feel like I might have got a little too much. We're gonna apply a little on my neck just because I feel like my face looks a little bit darker than my neck. I will fix this. I got way too much around my hairline. It's definitely, you don't need to go in real heavy with the brush. I went in way too strong. Like I dipped in 10 times and I really only need to just get a little bit more pigmented than I thought it might be. But that's not a big deal. We're just gonna take my sponge now and kind of tap this out of my hairline and then kind of pull off some of that excess that I got. Too much on my temples, but I like the formula. It went on pretty easy, blended out nicely, and is very pigmented, so you do not need a lot on your brush, which I've said several times. Let's move on to the blush I picked out. I have a liquid blush here, also from the brand Revolution or Makeup Revolution. This is their Super Dewy Liquid Blush. I picked out the shade Flushing for You, which looks like a good warm nude pink. I believe this is the lightest shade that they had at my Walgreens. I think they only had 3 shades at my Walgreens. It says it's dewy, but I'm feeling this actually feels a little bit like the Rare Beauty ones, but not matte. It reminds me of the dewier Rare Beauty formula blushes. Let's try it out with a brush. So I have just my Alter Ego brush right here, and I just have it kind of spread out on the back of my hand. This is how I best like to apply liquid blushes. Just put them on the back of my hand and then kind of dab in, rather than going directly with my fingers onto my cheeks. I just feel like I have better control with a brush as far as the shape goes, and then I don't have to go over it several times and then pull off the coverage in some of these spots that I like to keep covered. So brush just works really good because you can be really light and strategic with where you place it, and it kind of applies and blends at the same time. Honestly, I feel like I've tried so many liquid blushes lately and they've all been really good. I don't know that I prefer one above another. I like the e.l.f. ones. I like the Rare Beauty ones. I like the Physicians Formula ones. And then of course I love my Juicy Pinks, although those are a very different formula. They're more of a serumy kind of water base, whereas these are much more creamy liquid, I guess. More pigmented, kind of more of a creamy liquid. Pretty basic, but probably have it 100 times over. But if you're looking for one that's a budget-friendly version, I think this thing was only $7. $7 for this. Okay, I don't have a new highlighter. I'm just gonna go with one that I already own. Let's see, I have my Revolution one here, just my type. or Precious Petals. What should we do today? Let's go Precious Petals. I haven't used this forever. This thing is so old school YouTube. It's one of the few highlighters that I've fully used and repurchased before. And this one already has a pretty good dent in it, even though I don't use it nearly as much because I have so many other highlighters that I love. But from the drugstore, if you have more of like a medium light skin tone or a medium skin tone, this is so good. And I don't like the other shades from Wet n Wild as much as I like Precious Petals. Even though it can be a little bit dark on me in the wintertime when I don't have some tan going on. By the way, I do this on my lips, and I know some of you tell me it looks crazy. It kind of does look crazy. But if I remember to do this after and kind of press it in, same with my nose, then it's like just right. It gives you just the right amount of highlight without emphasizing those lines too much. Which I'm not that concerned about, guys. I'm kind of just, I'm almost 43. I have lines in a lot of places on my face. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with looking like I'm 43. Let's move on to the eyeshadow. So this eyeshadow palette I've seen pop up for a while. I think it's been out for quite a while. It's from Wet n Wild. This is the Always Naked palette. You guys might be surprised that I haven't tried this out yet because I am so obsessed with their Color Icon palettes, which by the way, my Walgreens today had, I think, every one of them in stock. I've been finding them harder to find at some drugstores lately, and I do still love those. They are so good. But I'm excited to try this because I know a lot of people love this one as well. This thing I think was $8, maybe $8.99. Yeah, $8.99, but you get 16 shades inside here. Take a look at these swatches, you guys. Very impressive. Wet n Wild and their eyeshadows, I feel like can never disappoint me. They always seem so good. So I have very high hopes for this thing. All right, so which shade of warm neutral do we want to start with? Let's start with this one. It's very light peach, kind of up in the corner here. By the way, you guys, I just went to check my eyelids. My concealer has not creased. That almost never happens on my eyelids. Even with the concealers I love and that usually don't give me a lot of lines and creasing underneath my eyes, they'll usually crease on my eyelid. This one is not creasing at all. I actually went to kind of like tap it out and realized it's dry. Like it feels dry, but it doesn't look dry. I don't know, I think it looks pretty good so far. So I'm just kind of going really wide with this first shade. Just a nice light peach. I almost picked up, they had these tiny little palettes from Makeup Revolution that had, I think, just 6 shades in them. They're really small. They had an orange toned one that reminded me of the colors in my Natasha Denona Sunset palette. Well, a few of the colors in that palette. And it was only $4. I almost went with that one. You guys want to know the reason that I didn't? Because I had already bought 2 things from Makeup Revolution. If you buy one, you get one half off, but that only applies to the lowest priced item that you buy. So I knew if I bought the $4 palette, then the $8 and $9 or the $8 and $7 products wouldn't be the ones that were discounted. It would have been the $4 products. So it was this like math that went on in my head that ended up saving me $1.50. So I should be very proud of me. Okay, I'm loving this first shade. Such a pretty peach. It's more of a peach than it is a brown, but it's super flattering. Very warm, but it's very flattering for a transition shade. Okay, let's move on to this shade down here. Let's go here. This one right here. Let's take this all over the outer third of the lid. Do something a little darker on the outer part of my lid. Just barely. Not too crazy, but I'm trying to switch it up a little bit. Maybe we'll do like a true bronze, slightly deeper smoky eye than I normally go for. Usually I keep my outer corner shades kind of right here, just right in that little V. But for those of you that have bigger eyes and have more eyelid space, I would recommend doing something more like this, like pulling your darker shade in a little bit further. I, however, don't. I have very tiny eyelids, so I like to keep it pretty. I like to keep the darker shades just in that outer corner for the most part, but let's go even darker, just right at the lash line. We're gonna take this deep chocolatey brown here, which looks so pretty. If you like your warmer neutrals, this is seems like a great basic palette with a good amount of variety. It's like the bronze palette from Natasha Denona, but with this row of lighter shades, which I wish the bronze palette had. Now let's jump into some shimmers. So let's start with this one right here. It's just kind of like a classic, actually let's take a look at a couple. This is such a classic Wet n Wild bronze shimmer. It's kind of a rose gold bronze. Has a bit of like rosiness to it. Do you guys see that? And then this shade right here is a really interesting, kind of more golden tone. Ooh, that's pretty. And then let's also check this one down here for my lid shade today. Oh gosh, I think those would all be pretty. How warm do we want to go? I feel like this would match my shirt and my jewelry better. I feel like this one's kind of in between. Let's go with this one. That was, what was that? This one right here. Let's try that shade. And we're gonna, actually I wanna use a brush for this because I always use my fingers. And I know some of you don't like using your fingers, or maybe you have long fingernails. You definitely can use a brush. I just like a really nice flat brush, something like this, like a concealer type brush. You can even use one that's smaller than this and just build it up. So we're gonna tap that all over the center of the lid. Just pulling it to about this part right here, not in this outer corner. Just keep it right in the center. All right, and now let's apply, ooh, what do I wanna do? Let's take this one right here, this shade. With that same brush, we're gonna pop that on the inner part of the lid and overlap, maybe not quite to the center, just right where those two shadows meet. This one's just gonna lightly overlap that one. And I'm gonna take this white shade right here, which has a bit of glitter in it, and just apply this on that inner corner, just right on the tear duct here. You could actually use that same brush and just use it on the tip. Okay, very pretty. I feel like that almost looks a little bit too much. I'm actually gonna go in with my sponge. Got a little out of hand just on that lower section right there. So I'm just gonna tap some of that excess off. So it's just skirting that rim of my inner corner. And there is the eyeshadow. Pretty darn impressive. Should we take that matte shade right there, put it under the brow bone? Not something I do all the time, but I know a lot of people do that don't have this massive brow bone that I have. If you have a smaller brow bone, I definitely recommend highlighting it to make it look a little bit larger. I don't really need to do that because I can't miss my brow bone. It's huge. Okay, that's it for eyeshadow. I do want to add just a little bit. Do I need liner? I really don't. There's part of me that feels like I can't not put liner on though. So I'm gonna put some on. Just a little bit of my Wet n Wild liner. I'm just going to put this on the outer part of my waterline. I don't think I need it on my upper lash line because I have that darker shade that was nice and pigmented and rich. It just has a little bit of richness to the outer corner of my eyes. And now let's try out my new mascara. Very excited to try this. I have not tried out a L'Oreal mascara for probably 5 or 6 years. I don't know why that is. I was not a big fan of L'Oreal Lash Paradise, which I know is like a holy grail for many people. There might have been another one I tried out from them as well that I just didn't fall in love with. I generally prefer Maybelline mascaras to L'Oreal, but they have this new Panorama mascara that we are going to test out today. Here is a little close-up of the brush for you guys. It's a good rubberized brush that looks a lot like the Maybelline Sky High mascara. I feel like this is a very popular brush form that a lot of people have been mimicking or doing lately. So let's give this a try. Oh boy, I did already curl my lashes before this video started. Okay, pretty nice. I'm trying to think of what type of mascara this reminds me of. It's a more thickening version than the Maybelline Sky High. It gives good length, a little bit more volume. So far, so good. That was just one coat too. But it gives volume in a way that's very defining still. I actually don't like mascaras that don't give you good definition to your lashes, that look too like dry or flaky on the ends of the lashes in particular. I like a good like point to the end of my lashes. Is that making sense? I think defining is the word that I'm trying to, the proper mascara descriptive word that I'm trying to think of, but I'm probably just sounding foolish. All right, you guys, that mascara is pretty awesome, I have to say. I actually really like that. It makes my lashes look thicker than my Maybelline Sky High does, which I love that one for the length and for the longevity, how it wears on me. We'll see how this one wears. I hope that it wears really well. I hope that it's a little bit water resistant because I am very happy with how this looks. It kind of reminds me of the look I get from my Tower 28 mascara, but maybe even a little bit like thicker than that one. And by the way, thank goodness I like it so far because this mascara was a whopping $15.99. That's almost as much as my Tower 28 mascara, so it's a good thing I liked it. I would recommend maybe trying to find this at Target or Walmart. Okay, let's move on to the lips. So I think I have just one new product for my lips. I picked up another lifter gloss in the shade Gummy Bear. I've been wanting to get another shade of this lip gloss for a while now. This, I think, if I had to pick one gloss to use for the rest of my life, for sure if it was from the drugstore, it would be the lifter gloss. This and the Fenty Beauty Gloss would kind of be like neck and neck. I love my Fenty glosses as well, but I might like the smell and the formula and even the packaging of the lifter gloss a little bit more. And I'm excited to have a new shade to try out today. Still smells so good. Oh, best smelling gloss ever. But before I do that, I pulled out my Superstay ink crayon. This is not new. I've had this for a while. And honestly, you guys, I never use products like this. As you guys might know, if you've been watching me for the last, I don't know, it's probably been about 2 years now. I have been in a lip liner and gloss only phase for a while, and I thought we should dip into my lipstick drawer. In fact, I was going to use a lipstick, but looking at my lipsticks, I thought, I don't even know that I have a lipstick that they sell at the drugstore anymore. I think most of, or a couple of my Maybelline shades, my L'Oreal shades, they probably don't make anymore because they're old and I just have not been buying lipsticks for a very long time. So this was the newest of the lipstick type products that I had that was drugstore. So we're gonna use this one today. By the way, this one is in the shade Lead the Way. Just a good kind of basic, like peachy nude, pinky nude. And I know this has a sharpener on the back, but I actually just wanna use a lip brush today. All right, that is nice and set down. Let's add my Gummy Bear Lifter Gloss. Let me just swatch this on the back of my hand after I wipe some of this other stuff off the back of my hand. Let's give it a little swatch. Ooh, really nice. Ooh, as in like, ooh, not ooh. Very pretty, kind of a milky peach shade. I love shades like this that are kind of like a almost Barbie pink, but with a touch of peach in them. I have a couple of older glosses that I have officially run out of. I had a really old Lorac gloss that I completely have used up. Actually had it in my purse for a while trying to dig the last remaining gloss out of it. I think that one might have been just a touch more opaque than this one, like have a touch more color, but still, I like this one. And that's it, you guys. This is the makeup look that we have completed using some new and new to me drugstore products. What did you guys think of these products? Have you tried some of these newer releases, especially the skin tint, the concealer, and the mascara? I would love to know your thoughts on those things because I'm actually pretty impressed with all three of them so far. I can't wait to keep playing with this concealer because I feel like it looks pretty good on my eyes. Like, I was worried it was maybe gonna look a little too dry because it was so, it dries down, but it doesn't look dry on me so far. It is possible that, I don't know, maybe this like serum did something amazing for me that I didn't notice. I actually don't know that I loved how this felt on my skin. It really did just kind of sink in the way that like water would if I just put a little bit of water on my face. So that one I would probably pass on. I'll try and use it a couple more times and see if my thoughts change on it, but I definitely wasn't one of those things that you put on your face and you can just feel your skin kind of melting and softening in the best way. As for the skin tint, you guys, my skin looks great. I'm excited to see how this wears, especially my forehead area where I can get a lot of settling in my fine lines. Excited to see if it is truly transfer proof, which I feel like the only way to know that for sure is to wear a white t-shirt and take it on and off. But for me, I think of transfer proof as kind of a synonym with long wearing, something that's gonna last a really long time. And this claims that it does. So I'm excited to see how it wears throughout the day, but it doesn't feel dry on my skin at all. It's set down nicely without feeling dry. And I'm very surprised by the coverage level of this. A couple other things I'm kind of excited about. The bronzer looks great. I hope it wears well. The blush looks great as well. Again, I'll let you guys know how these wear on me as I use them over the next couple of days. As for the mascara, again, I will keep you guys posted on the mascara. This one I will try and wear this weekend to baseball games and see how it holds up to watery eyes, because my eyes always water at baseball games. But I really, really like how it looks on my lashes. Really good drugstore mascara. Very excited about that. But I believe that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. It is always so much fun to test out drugstore makeup, and we found some winners today. I'm very excited about some of these products. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me give you one last reminder to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. So one of the last times I wore this shirt, they gave me a look like, are you a stoner? I don't know. I felt like there was a look. Speaking of Bob Marley, if you have a young, like teen boy that's getting into music, we're going through this phase with my youngest boy right now. It is so much fun. He went through a Bob Marley phase. That was like 1.5 years ago. Then he's gone through like a Nirvana phase. He's going through my grunge phase when I was a teenager in the 90s. He's way into Pearl Jam right now. So we've been like reliving all the Pearl Jam hits, Smashing Pumpkins, Weezer, Counting Crows. It has been so much fun. I don't know, actually I do know how he inherited such great taste in music. If you could only add the Cranberries to that list, then we would have my junior high school days like all wrapped up into a cute little ball. How could you not love reggae music? It's great even if you don't smoke pot. Oh yeah.